Hello, I'm Charlie Russell and this is the wonderful Charlotte Scott. We have both played Sandra in The Play That Goes Wrong. Charlotte is currently playing Sandra right now in the West End. And we are here to celebrate the 11th anniversary of The Play That Goes Wrong on the West End by having Elevenses and answering 11 questions. So here we go.
Let's go.
You ready? Who's going to start?
Shall I go first?
I'll
ask.
Yeah.
Okay. What was your first role on stage?
I think my first ever role on stage was a fairy on the tree in Geppetto's workshop from Pinocchio. So it was a panto in Grange Ever Sands, and I had been auditioning for the panto since I was 5, but they had an age limit. So as soon as I was 7, I was involved, and I was this pink little fairy on the tree. But what's really funny is quite a few years ago, I found an old VHS of that show. Yes. And I put it on and I was like, oh, this is so funny. And I was like, oh, it's really funny, that little child. Everybody's left, the ensemble's left the stage, but and the bad guys are having their scene, but there's a little kid who's not left and is just staring at all the acting. And then I realised it was me. Oh. And even like the actress playing the baddie like patted me on the head and the audience laugh and I've got no idea. And it's like a proper goes wrong Max moment, probably.
That's very Max, actually.
Yeah, it's quite
very
Max. Which I always find quite amusing.
Oh, that's really sweet.
But it was the best thing ever. I loved it so much.
Oh. And then you were saying before that then your first paid role was...
My first paid theatre gig, which was then The Murder at Havisham Manor at the Old Red Lion, which of course actually is The Play That Goes Wrong, playing Sandra.
That's pretty great.
It's pretty cool.
That's a pretty good first paid gig, really, isn't it?
Well, I didn't realise
what's happened.
I didn't realise it was at the time. I'll tell you that because I was also working during the day and doing the show at night. But you know, I had a very good time. Yeah. And I knew there was something special about it.
Yes. Oh, definitely.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Well, what was your first role on stage?
Okay, so my first role on stage, same as you, it will have been a panto. Mm-hmm. Norwich Theatre Royal. Yes.
Great theatre.
Yeah, lovely theatre, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
really
nice. Such a great theatre. And yes, it was Jack and the Beanstalk, and I'd been asked to audition by my dance teacher, and so we had to go and audition, and this is so indicative of me, I think. And I went along, and obviously, as you know, with children working in theatre, you have to have like a couple of children playing the same role so that you take it in turns because of child laws and whatever. So they had to have 2 teams. And all of the parents stood outside at one point, were told, well, you know, your child is in the pantomime now. Like, so all of you waiting, you know, everybody's got it. It's just a case of seeing where they all fit. And I remember we kind of walked through, and I walked through past this glass door, and I saw my mum, and I was like, gave her a thumbs up, and she looked at me and she went, understudy, great. Because I was just happy to be in it. Aww. And I wasn't an understudy, but my mum just assumed that was all I'd get. But she was so thrilled.
Yeah, of course.
She was like, understudy amazing, because I know that if I'd have been an understudy, I would have been absolutely over the moon. Mm-hmm. But I was actually like going to be in it. Like,
who did you play?
I was just I was a snowman, actually.
Just
a snowman in the opening, and I think we were like goblins when Jack went up to the giant.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Those roles, those early roles for kids, they shape us.
They do.
They are very important.
Yes.
Oh.
But no, it was just the best. It's so magic, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you're a kid doing theatre.
Yeah.
And it's so funny even now when I hear Christmas songs, there's obviously that like a nostalgia that you get about those old Christmas songs like Slade and whatever. And I suddenly realised a couple of years ago that actually I love those Christmas songs because they remind me of being in the car going to the theatre. It's not necessarily... Obviously, yes, it's about Christmas and family. Obviously, very much family. But it's really kind of a nostalgia of just that. And I used to get so jealous when we had like a matinee and then we had to leave and we didn't get to do the evening. I was like, the adults get to do it twice a day. And obviously I know that sometimes we're like, oh, we've got to do it twice today.
I know, right.
especially when you're playing Sandra and you're like, oh, I've got to
nice
fall over multiple times twice today.
Excellent.
Lovely. Right, on to the next one.
Yeah, second question.
How long have you been playing Sandra for?
Well, I suppose it was answered in the first question. I have been playing Sandra since we created her. in 2012. So that's Christmas 2012. So it's coming up to maths 13 years.
Yeah.
Lucky number 13.
Wow.
Which is a bit mad to think that I'm old enough to have played a role for that long. Please don't do maths, anyone.
Yes. And do you think she's changed in that time?
Hugely,
Yes.
yeah. When we first did it at the Old Red Lion, I'd just come out of drama school and I'd done a lot of clown at drama school, and obviously Mark Bell had taught us. And our first reading of the play, myself and Dave really assessed that Max and Sandra were just playing it straight. There was no real clown. And maybe Sandra was sort of august, i.e. serious, but she didn't have as much of a hook as she does now.
Yes.
The vanity came in a bit later. Like, as we were doing it, it was developing like, oh, maybe she's a very serious actress who's a bit too aware of how she's looking and how she's coming across.
Yeah.
And then over time, that's developed, particularly then with doing Peter Pan Goes Wrong. Well, let's go further than that. What's going on underneath? And really, it's sort of about insecurity, but with a brittle outer shell and the need to control everything and the sort of the concern about it all.
Yeah.
But she has changed quite a bit. I'd say she's become a little bit more vibrant and more interesting than the first time I played her. I played her very, very straight at the beginning, but also because the audience was about as far away as you are now from you. So you didn't want to overdo anything.
Yes.
Because now you do have to sort of balance. You don't want to overdo it, but as you know, you also are playing to however many 500 people or more, and you want to make sure that it's subtle but readable. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I was like, is that the answer? That's the answer to the question.
Yeah.
We can cut this round a bit out. I mean, would you say, I know this isn't 11 questions, but would you say, even having approached Sandra, she's changed from the first time you've like read her to the time you're performing?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? You find more about them. It's not as two-dimensional.
Yeah, exactly. And you find these little nuances, don't you? And you find the times where, you know, she's really trying to be a serious actress. You know, you then find the times where she's kind of enjoying the drama a little bit too much and aware of how she's looking to the audience. And yeah, those are the times when she's just getting frustrated and yeah. So
and then you lose it at the end in the fight. So you've got to have this range, otherwise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, well, let me ask you, because I'm actually quite excited because Charlotte's been in musicals and that's like the dream. So you've been in musicals,
I have.
like Back to the Future and Matilda and Guys and Dolls and plays. Do you have a preference between musicals and theatre?
Ooh, well, I mean, my reference is more for musicals because this is my first play. I actually hadn't ever done a play before this.
Ever?
Except at drama school.
Awesome.
But yes, it's literally just been musicals. So I wouldn't say that I've got a preference. It's just a really different kind of thing. And it's sometimes I miss kind of there being like a song or some music. And then sometimes I go, oh, it's actually quite nice to not have to break out into song or dance. So it's just a kind of slightly different medium, but then almost for me though, where you kind of in musicals where you have your scene and then there'll be a song with like a dance break or some singing in it, I feel like we almost have those smaller interludes maybe quicker and more often in play because you've got your scenes and then you have your goes wrong moment, which is then that's almost like then the like song in the piece because you've got scene and then like physical comedy. So that's kind of quite nice.
Yeah.
So that you've still got those little kind of highlights and pops of energy, I think, still going into it.
I always imagine, and I don't know because I've not done a musical professionally, but as well there's a sort of element of ensemble that's always so important that seems to be in musicals where you're supporting action that might not be totally focused on you. And then in The Play That Goes Wrong, you have to, like, the joke might really be literally up there.
Yes.
But you're so important because if you were to start doing something over here, it would distract. So you have to be part of the music of the next moment. Yeah.
Exactly, which I think really teaches you to be a company member and to be an ensemble member and to know when it's not your moment, but like you said, you're still there and you're very much supporting it and making sure that it lands better than it would if there was nobody else there.
Yeah.
I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And for you, so what's it like returning to the role over the years?
That's a really great question. It's been great to be able to return to it. Mm-hmm. I thought when I finished with the West End in 2015 that I would never do it again. And I was so lucky to get to go to Broadway with it. And I was scared at first of coming back, and then I found it to be the most incredible opportunity to start fresh.
Yeah.
And without the tension of like, I'm literally going on tonight and this is how I've always done it, there was a bit of space between that. And I could go, yes, that was how I always did it, but was that always the right way to do it? I'd also had the benefit of watching some other incredible Sandras for a few years and going, oh, that's a great choice, you know?
It's really nice, isn't it?
Really great. And so I was really relishing the chance to, with a bit more maturity and a bit more experience, approach it again and say, actually, where can I play it more straight? Where can I make a classier choice? Where can I pull back? Because I think when I was younger, I was a bit concerned about the fact that it's quite hard playing Sandra sometimes because you're not the one with all the gags.
Yes.
You don't have all the punchlines.
This is what I struggled with. I wouldn't say struggled, but that was something that I was quite aware of when we first started, because you're just there kind of going, oh God, am I not funny?
I'm not funny. Exactly.
And
I'm not funny.
Yeah, and it just totally comes back to kind of confidence, doesn't it? And not feeling enough. But yeah, because that's the biggest thing.
Well, that's it. And I was really struggling with that. I mean, if you think about the people I'm doing the play that goes wrong with, I am amongst titans of comedy. Yes. You've got like Nancy and Henry and David and all these people, and Jonathan and everyone. And so I'm just not funny. And it was very, it was kind of selfish. It was kind of like looking at me and only focusing on me and not realising what my part was in the whole. And then we got to do Broadway and we got to work with Matty DiCarlo.
Right.
And he said something about Sandra is the punchline.
Yeah.
She is the punchline. Every moment, every single word, every single look is the punchline, because she is the joke, as in she is that character that you know, that actor who is slightly overdoing it and is slightly too self-aware and forgets to be a part of a team. And then you get the payoff at the end, and just once you realise that she's part of a really delicious meal and she's essential, you couldn't have a spag bowl without the onions, but she might not be like the meat, do you know what I mean? Or the spaghetti. She's like, but she's important. And then you realise how important it is, the work you're doing to support the whole show.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that actually the more you try and play for laughs and attention, the more it takes away from the whole show. So I reassessed my role, what my work was and what it was to serve the play rather than just myself. And so coming back to it a few times is always just a chance to do that. It was the same with Pan as well, going, okay, I've done this once before where I really focused on myself. Now let's do it again where I focus on how I serve this play.
Yes.
And it's I'm so lucky I've been given the opportunity to sort of rectify mistakes.
No, they're not mistakes, they're just different choices.
Yeah, and growth. We love growth.
And there's nothing wrong with being an onion in a spag bowl.
We love being the onion. Without it, it'd be flavourless.
Love an onion. We love an onion.
But how would you describe Sandra? I gave her a description earlier, but how would you describe her?
Yes, I would say she holds herself to a very high standard. And part of her frustration comes from the fact that she also holds other people to that standard in the play, and some people are incapable of reaching that standard.
You're my therapist. This is just like, yeah, I wonder why she's like this. Yeah. Interesting.
I know. Well, it was funny because when we first started, everybody was saying how there's like an element of everybody's character within them as a person, like Ronnie, our lovely Trevor, we're just like, there's just no acting required. It's just Ronnie. And there were a couple of people that just said to me, like, you are just Sandra. And I was like, what?
Oh, that's such an insult.
What are you trying to say?
I would not say that I got Sandra vibes from you. I think it's really important to say that now, because there's an element of Sandra that isn't very nice. Certainly not the play that goes wrong, right?
But yes, she takes herself very seriously, is very aware of obviously what other people think of her, and also, I mean, we came up with the whole backstory for why Annie and Sandra don't like each other, so I don't know what yours was, but ours came from that at Cornley, they were in a production together years ago. They were in Oliver as child actors, and Annie got lost on the way to the stage from the dressing room and never made it, but I did. And I could have helped her, but I didn't. So occasionally, I think there was one where, a show recently where when we have the kind of little bickering moment in Act 2, where I've just come out the clock and we've seen her, and you come in, we have this little argument and then we see that the audience is watching. There was one a couple of weeks ago where it went on a little bit too long, and I went, "You're doing this because of Oliver!" right at the end of it, and everybody on stage were like, because I you know what it's like sometimes where things are going on and you you say things and there's a gap and it just came into my head. I was like, this is because of Oliver! So yes, that's our backstory.
Oh, I love that so much. New stories to add to the lore. That is brilliant.
So yes. So yeah, I think I think she has massive aspirations. You know, she's thinking that Cornley is her stepping stone to the West End.
Absolutely.
You know, and she thinks it's just a matter of time.
And it is only a matter of time.
It really is. It really is. So, and I think that as well, you know, with all of the other clowns we've got, it's just so glorious. It's the same with Chris. When somebody is taking it so seriously and is so desperately trying to get through despite everything else happening, and it, like you said, it makes it all part of this delicious meal where then there are certain payoffs. And again, I feel like as Sandra, you know, you're there and you're there whilst everything is happening, and then it's when you get to Act 2, what we call Women's Fight, where that's when you get the payoffs. That's when all of the laughs, all of the work that you've done in Act 1 then kind of comes to fruition.
Yeah, you're constantly setting it up in Act 1 because you get the payoffs in Act 2, and unless the more seriously you've taken yourself in Act 1, the funnier it is when you are humiliated in Act 2. Right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good one. I like this one. What's been your favourite show to play her in, on stage or screen?
Favourite show to play Sandra in? I think when it comes down to it, it's probably Peter Pan Goes Wrong, because as a whole, it's just a great time to be Sandra. You get the benefit of taking herself super seriously. She's the glue that keeps that show going. But you get a little bit of the humanity now. You get a little bit of her backstory. I enjoy it because her and Annie get on now. They fight, but then they actually make friends again at the end. She also learns what's more important, right? She could choose to be only playing for, only caring about the production and only caring about basically being with the guy that she thinks she should be with, or both of those things. And in the end she goes, oh my gosh, no, screw the play for just a minute, screw the play. And also, this is the guy, of course this is the guy. And so it's nice to play her in that show because she gets an arc. It's also just super fun because you're constantly, you have to just play the whole thing so straight and you're just surrounded by absolute clowns. It's really funny. But then in the Goes Wrong show, it was really fun to do things like the final episode of the second series where it's Sandra's radio play. Yes. Because it feels like the culmination of all the possible jokes you could make with Sandra in one, and that was really, really nice. And the lads wrote that sort of knowing that there's a slight in-joke in Mischief that I like doing, sort of voice stuff, even though I don't do a lot of voiceover yet. And me wanting to be in the Archers, and because I love the Archers, and wanting to do, the voiceover for Marks and Spencer's. And so they were sort of writing it in. It was like a joke for Sandra, it was also a joke for me. So I really, I loved that moment as well. That was really sweet to just give her a little, because everybody got a little moment. So that was super fun.
Yeah. And how was that for you guys, being able to take goes wrong from stage onto screen? Was it really exciting to think that there were other possibilities that you could do that can't be done in a theatre?
Exactly. So there's a scene in the pilot, not the pilot, where it's a split screen, and you couldn't, when it's not a split screen, and it's with me and Nance, and I just love that scene. It's one of the first things we did, and I love that scene so much. And you just couldn't do it on stage because, well, I'm sure there's a way, but it would be harder.
Yeah.
And also, we'd know it's not on a screen.
Yes.
It needs a screen for that joke to work. And there were a few things like that we could do during the series. But it means there were some things we couldn't do, you know, some things that didn't translate, but it was exactly, as you say, an opportunity to explore a whole new plethora of ideas and jokes you can make. And so that was super, super fun. And then because Sandra gets to play so many different people, she doesn't just play the sort of leading lady.
Yeah.
She also plays like a prisoner with a big silicon man chest suit on. She plays men in Shakespeare or a bottle of washing up liquid. And you're like, how does Sandra approach all of these things? Well, with absolute sincerity.
Yes.
She's going to be the best washing up liquid you've ever seen.
100%.
She's going to be the best man you've ever seen. It's not necessarily about a traditional heteronormative spin on what a woman thinks is attractive. It's less about being attractive now, and it's more about being really, really good.
Yeah.
And also what she thinks, you know, and what we all think attractive is. So it's just nice to like diversify that.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
Oh, that's really cool.
Okay, my turn. So you've been playing for You've been playing Sandra now for a few months.
Yes.
Oh, anything new you've discovered about her across the course of that time? I technically asked this question. Start again.
Yeah.
Have you discovered anything new about Sandra in the last few months since you've been playing her?
Yes, I think it's just finding those moments where you realise, like when she's really into the murder at Havisham Manor, and she's really kind of leaning into that, and then the moments where things go wrong, and the way that she handles that as well, and whether it's with kind of complete frustration, exasperation, and it changes on a daily basis. And you know, that's the joy of theatre, is that you get to kind of try little things out, and you know, and also, again, this is probably veering away from the question, but it's so interesting seeing how different audiences respond to different things. And you know, there are always certain things at the beginning of the show which we kind of wait to see if there's a laugh.
Yes.
And we go, oh, okay, yeah, they're good, because they're really laughing. And then they suddenly won't laugh at something that normally an audience would really respond to. And you go, oh, that's interesting, because they were really responsive to this, and this bit just went for nothing. Or then sometimes, you know, the first couple of laughs like don't really get very much, and we're a bit like, God, are we in trouble today? And then something will have a huge laugh, and it will suddenly bring them out of their shell.
Yeah.
So I think I've almost learnt more about the audience probably, or than Sandra.
Yeah.
Because I think that's been the thing that I've found most interesting, at seeing what they respond to, and trying different things out.
And I suppose, and again, and not to make a sweeping generalisation about musicals, and particularly someone who hasn't done one, but obviously there are comedy musicals, but musicals are quite set in terms of like, you won't necessarily hear a response as you're singing, right, because the music's really loud, but your play, when you've got no music to sort of lean on, when you do play that goes wrong, like, the response is the laughter, and you hear it or you don't hear it.
Yes.
And it really affects what you're doing. You can't be like, well, I'm about to give him a showstopper number. Like, and I'm not saying it's easy to do that in a musical, and I'm not saying it always lands, but it is quite vulnerable doing a comedy.
Yes. Yeah. Because a lot of the time, if there is a song coming up, you go, well, you know, if they're not being very responsive, you kind of go, well, hopefully this will wake them up a little bit. You know, whereas you don't have that with a play. And it's really difficult to, well, it's not really difficult, but it's one of those things where it's quite easy for our pace as actors to slow, where actually that's not going to help it at all. If anything, you need to keep the energy and the pace going. But as you kind of start to wilt a little bit as a person, because you think you're doing a terrible job, you've actually got to, like, you know, put your foot on the accelerator a little bit more.
Yeah.
we always say as well, like a big moment, well, Lexi, our resident, says that it's lovely right at the end when Jonathan asks Robert, you know, the glass of poison sherry, what do you suppose I did with it?
Oh, I know.
You know, and you have some audiences where there's not really a response, and you have some that are like, ooh,
And they've managed to follow the story.
yes,
I love
which is
that.
so nice.
Yes.
Because they haven't just got caught up in, you know, the hilarious things that are happening. They're actually invested in the story. You know, and we've even had some where I think we've had kids like shouting out trying to get Robert not to drink it.
Oh, I love that so much.
Because even before he drinks it, they've realised. So actually, they haven't even needed Jonathan's line.
They've already worked it out.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, I didn't work it out for ages. No, that's amazing.
But yeah, so that's always really nice to kind of hear those responses and know that actually, as actors telling a story, we've done that. We've done our job in that.
We had that with the comedy about spies. Chris and I would be like, you know, there was the moments with the jokes for Sergei and Elena, these characters we played, and the laughs and these big comedy moments, but we knew we'd really done a good job if they reacted to one of the characters getting shot.
Yes.
And how they reacted to that. And we'd come off being like,
yes! Yes!
Got him in the feels! Yes!
It's so good. So, what is your favourite funny memory from your time playing her?
There are loads of really funny memories, and of course, when you ask that question, they all go out of my head.
Of course.
But there is a time which I've mentioned before, I think, in an interview, but... So, I don't know if this happens to you guys anymore, but it used to happen to us back in the day, where the door would come off its hinges too soon.
Oh, we haven't had that yet.
No, because I think they fixed it after us. But there was this time where, you know, you'd hear that the door had come off too early, you'd be like, oh no, that's a shame, in Act 1 or Act 2. And then I was on stage in Act 1 and I was like, oh, the door's come off its hinges too early. And I was like, but I'm still here. So how do I get knocked out? Right? Like, I was like, but I'm on stage. How do I get knocked out now? Because the door's off its hinges. Oh my God. So I'm doing the scene with the lines the wrong way round with Henry.
Yes.
And then we do that and that's fine. And then I'm doing this like, oh, Inspector, how can you?
Yeah.
You know, and flouncing around. Looking around going, how do I knock myself out? Can I run into the pole? Can I like trip and fall? And I was going to do that. I was going to trip and fall down, which was going to be so bad. Like, to think about that, how bad that could have been. So I get to the point of where, just before the knockout, and I look through the little doorway, and I see Henry Lewis with the door in his hands going, and I was like, okay, so I assumed he'd put it up vertically and just open it like that, as if Robert had tried to fix the problem.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He came with it horizontally through the door and just went, bang! And so I genuinely was just like, and then fell to the ground. And I'm sure if you'd been watching carefully that night, you'd have seen Sandra on the floor just like giggling to herself because it was so stupid. He just absolutely fly swatted me with it. But that's the thing, you know, we didn't want to stop. You got to keep going. You got to find a way around it, and we always do. But one of my favourite lines to ever say as Sandra was in the Nativity episode of The Goes Wrong Show, where she gets to look to camera and go, but I'm a virgin. And I
Not
just
a
like,
chance,
I
Sandra.
can't, like, it's the reaction that it would get from everybody, every reading, in every camera rehearsal, and even when we were shooting it. And I just had in my head, like, my dad's going to watch this, and the joke is that she's definitely not. And obviously. But I really enjoyed doing that one. That was probably the pinnacle of the looks to camera.
Oh.
It's the looks to camera and, but I'm a virgin.
Oh,
it's outrageous, isn't it? It's actually really quite rude.
Family show.
Mm. So yeah, that's probably my funniest moment.
Love that.
Brilliant. What has been your favourite audience response or funny moment from the runs?
Oh, like you, again, as soon as you ask that, they all go out of my head completely. We did have quite a funny one recently where when I've said to Max, kiss me, and I'm trying to get to kiss me, and then I just go, oh, just do it, lie down, and obviously he's there kind of like working up the courage to try and kiss me, which he really, really, really doesn't want to do. There was this kid in the audience that went, just kiss her.
Just kiss her.
And I'm there like, oh,
I love that. What I really enjoy about those moments is a kid has shouted out and the audience finds that hysterical, but then they can tell that it's gotten you, and so now they know that you're corpsing, but the kid doesn't necessarily understand what they've just done. Oh, I love those moments so much.
And it was just the like, oh, it was like, oh, just get on with it. It was like, just kiss it. It was like, oh, for God's sake.
Oh, come on, Max, please.
So exasperating.
That's absolutely
but yes, and yeah, I mean, there's always goes wrong things like that actually have gone wrong. Which is funny because the audience just never know.
I know. Well, I've always said the funniest goes wrong for us is when nothing's gone wrong. So we used to talk about this thing where like your body knows that the thing is meant to fall, but your brain realises that it hasn't. So you would normally be like, oh my God, but you gather that it hasn't, and so you go, because your body wants you to go, but your brain's trying to stop you, so you go, and then you're like, and everybody's on stage going, well, that was weird because everybody looked to something and then nothing happened and we just have to continue. And then you all start laughing.
Yeah.
And nobody else knows what's going on.
No.
Oh, no.
No. But, and for some reason, there's always those things happen when, as Sandra, you're unconscious and you can't laugh.
The best was when I sneezed.
I've sneezed before. Yeah! And it's awful because just in real life when it's like, when it's quiet or something and you're like, oh no, I can't sneeze. But like, oh my goodness, when you're on stage and you can feel it coming.
Oh no,
and you're
nothing.
Like, no. You're like, oh God. And you're like trying to stifle it. Oh, it's just the worst.
It's so good. I always used to like fall and then be like, into my armpit. And then I'd always hear Greg just like, and I'd be like, don't fucking lie now, don't lie. You know, it's so embarrassing. Oh dear. There you go. I like that. I like your funny moments. We have some fan questions.
Oh, yes.
Do you prefer performing Act 1 or Act 2 and why?
Oh, I think it's got to be Act 2.
Yes. Mine's Act 1. Interesting.
Oh, nice. I think I really like I just like that she absolutely loses it.
Yeah.
I love that it just, you know, even from the moment she comes on, it's like, okay, I'm back. And it's that kind of energy that you've got all the time. And then she slowly just loses every bit of dignity she has. Oh, yeah. It's just great.
It really is. I'm giving it the clock.
Yes. Oh,
That's a little pièce de résistance where you're like, this'll, unless you've really like made a mistake, you're like, oh, this will go down well.
Yeah, it's so good because the noise of it, it's so loud. And also, for some reason, I find that the most comfortable fall.
Oh, you mean the bit knockout of the clock?
Yes.
I meant the trick.
Oh, the trick. The trick is incredible.
But the knockout of that clock, I know it sounds so bad.
It's so good. And and that knock, like I literally just always kind of picture Woody when someone's gone, and he's coming. You just go.
Yes.
And that's like kind of how I envisage it. But yeah, the coming out of the clock. And I probably shouldn't, because I should probably be playing up. I definitely should be playing up to the dress circle, the Sandra. But I always kind of like try and look in the stalls because I like to see people's faces. Because there was literally a couple of weeks ago, some guy just went, oh! I was like, you look like you want to ride at Alton Towers. Fantastic.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I've got to come back just so I can get one of those.
So yeah, I just love like seeing the shock on people's faces because they have absolutely no idea how that's happened.
I mean, that only came into the show when we got 2 acts and a clock. And it was a great addition.
It was so good. Who in theatre world do you look up to?
So many people, so many actors. one of my favourite actors is Monica Dolan. She's amazing. But I would say I particularly also look up to people like Bryony Kimmings. Mm-hmm. So Bryony Kimmings makes some incredible work, often autobiographical, written and created by her and the people she works with all the time. And they're things that move me and make me think, and they're really funny. And then on the other hand, like James Graham, I love his plays. I always try and see them. I think he manages to achieve something so difficult, which is he brings important and slightly complex ideas into a theatre space. He makes it accessible, which without, I think, dumbing it down.
Yeah.
And funny, and with heart.
Yes.
This is probably, I'd like to do a James Graham play before I retire.
Right, good.
So we're putting that out there.
If you're watching.
He's so good. And I've always liked his plays. I think
yes. And I think that's always the best, isn't it? I saw a play recently where I had exactly the same thing, where it was funny and devastating and heartbreaking and heartwarming in equal measure.
What was that?
Till the Stars Come Down.
I'm seeing it in a few weeks' time.
Oh my goodness, it was so good.
I hear it's
so
incredible.
Good.
A Mischief alum, Holly Sumpton, is part of the ensemble.
Yes, she
and
is.
I've heard it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's it. I love plays where they've managed to make it human, relatable, funny, and they break your heart.
Yes. And you have that moment when there'll be a moment when you watch it where you just go, oh, no, and it's just like, oh no, please, no, don't do that.
I can't wait for that moment.
Yes. Oh.
Who do you look up to in the theatre world?
Oh my goodness, I don't even know.
All right, if you could do, what's like been your favourite musical, for a new musical in the last few years?
See now, like every single musical has just disappeared from my head.
Okay. What's a dream role?
Dream role was. Oh, see, I'm going to sound like an absolute.
Do it.
It was Glinda and Wicked, and then I have played it, which is really
yes!
annoying and smug of me.
No,
I don't blame any of you out there for hating me if you do it this way.
I would. What's wrong? What's wrong with having a dream, working, achieving the dream, and being proud of it? Congratulations. You deserve that.
But yeah, and I think I think it's just so many people again that I've worked with. Rachel Tucker, for example, who I did Wicked with, like she's incredible, and she's gone on to do brilliant things. She's obviously just finished in Great Gatsby, but also now, like, you know, getting a bit older as well. She's a working mum, you know, and looking at all of these great women as well that, you know, are having their careers. And are coming in and doing shows after having got up, done the school run in the morning, and got all of these things together. Like I think that's starting to become really inspiring to me. Yeah, actually.
Nancy Zammit is a prime example of that. She's the most incredible mum, but also so hardworking, and I can't imagine it's very easy for her. And I'm not going to speak for her, but she does an incredible job. That's all the questions.
Done.
Thank you so much for joining us for Elevenses. Happy 11th anniversary to The Play That Goes Wrong. And Charlotte, this has been an absolute pleasure.
Lovely. Cheers.
Cheers.